June 20th, 2012 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. I will open this evening with a roll call. Mr. Keller is absent. Mr. Urice is expected shortly. Mr. Sermonetto.
Here.
Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Rinaldi is here. Ms. Hofstadter, do we hear from Helen? Mr. Ferguson, would you sit in for Mr. Keller this evening? For the record, our next regular meeting is scheduled for July 18, 2012. The records show the meeting scheduled for July 4th. Will not happen, so will be closed that night. We'll skip the acceptance of the minutes and we will move right to the first public hearing. 7:30 p.m. Ingersoll Property Holdings of Danbury LLC. Application for revised site plan in accordance with section 10B7 of the zoning regulations for special exception number 622. Approved 1505 and revised 2106 for Saturn/Saab dealership now known as Ingersoll Auto of Danbury, 84 Federal Road, K1111, special exception 622. I'll read the legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission of the City of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7:30 p.m. on June 20th, 2012 in the City Council Chambers at City Hall, 155 Deerhill Avenue, to consider the following matter. Ingersoll Property Holdings of Danbury LLC, application for revised site plan in accordance with section 10D7 of the zoning regulations for special exception number 622, approved 1505 and revised 2106 for Saturn/Saab dealership, NKA Ingersoll Auto of Danbury, 84 Federal Road, K11111. Parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard this time. Arnold E. Rinaldi, Jr., Chairman, published June 8 and June 15, 2012. Let the record show that Mr. Urice and Ms. Hofstadter have arrived. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Dodo.
Yes, good evening. For the record, Benjamin Dodo, licensed professional engineer, office at 248 Main Street. I'm representing the applicant, Ingersoll Automotive. Also with me tonight is the applicant, Todd.
Excuse me, can you either use a mic or speak up?
He's going to have
what you're
to
saying.
make his presentation to the board.
It is, yeah.
Hello.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm here tonight representing the applicant, Ingersoll Automotive. The property is located at 84. I don't even know if this mic is working. I'll just. It is.
It is.
Okay. I guess I can't hear myself. This was an application that was previously approved by this commission in 2005, I think it was. At that time, it was for a Saturn and Saab dealership. It was revised shortly after that for a Saturn and GM. Basically, the original site plan included a phased approval, which had 3 total buildings. Only 1 was built. Phase 1 was developed. Phase 2 was never done. Due to the elimination of the Saturn brand and the consolidation within GM and some of their dealerships, the site now houses Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. In addition, Ingersoll Automotive still services Saturns, Pontiacs, and Hummers, all vehicles that don't exist. So the reason we're here tonight is because the dealership is currently overcrowded and phase 2 needs to be enacted. But because of the changes, instead of having 3 buildings, we're simply going to do an addition to the existing building. I'm going to walk over here. I'll take the microphone with me. I brought with me the previously approved site plan, which shows the building that currently exists today. Here's Federal Road, Morgan around the back. And in the pink were areas of phase 2 that were never built. Some of the land was cleared and graded. Some of the storm drainage was put in, but some of it exists in gravel today, but that was never done. The proposal simply takes the footprint of phase 2. And you can see the northern end, there really is no change except for an island or 2 and some designated storage spaces. And at the southerly end, instead of a building right here, it's a smaller addition, a 13,500 square foot addition to the existing building for phase 2. And we've also added a phase 3 at this point. Get it all approved at once, and it's a smaller, a little over 2,000 square foot addition in the back. And it's a reconfiguring of parking. The overall site stays the same. The landscaping that was put in during phase 1, it was put in for phase 1 and phase 2. All the sidewalks along Morgan, all the street trees, evergreen buffer trees, frontage along Federal Road was all put in, the storm drainage was put in. 12-inch water main, courtesy of Mr. Buckley, was extended from Morgan through the property to Federal Road. Sites served by city sewer on Morgan. That's going to continue with the existing service. There are several fire hydrants on site. We met with the fire marshal as part of this because one of the fire hydrants during the construction process previously changed from phase 2 to phase 1. It was a conflict with the light pole. We looked at where the best spot to put it was. I met with Jim Johnson, and basically he's asked us, right now we have fire hydrants, I'm going to dot them on the site. There's one here, and one here. Jim wants to see it actually put up on the property on Morgan, just off the back corner. So not only will it serve the site, but it'll also serve a gap in Morgan that they currently have, because the nearest hydrant in Morgan is down the road here. So the proposed plan does include installing a hydrant real close to the back of this building. It'll sort of give the perimeter, but it'll also serve the neighbors, the neighborhood there as well. Let's see. The only changes to the site have to do with some modification of some parking, the moving of the service entrance from where it is here to the left. Obviously, there's going to be some interior modifications, some additional service bays are going to be added, but the general look of the building, and this is in the package too, it's going to carry sort of the theme that's there, and with all the dealerships across. The building is as I said, currently served by water and sewer. All the detention improvements have been put in. There's no increase in impervious area. The report includes modifying some storm drainage, obviously around where the building is. There's a few pipes that are being taken out, relocated around, all going to be connected to the system. The question was raised, I guess, by commission member through staff as to the site seems overcrowded. We've got some parking going on where parking shouldn't be occurring right now in aisles, and that's simply because we're too overcrowded. As I mentioned when this started, we've got all these dealerships that were basically at phase 2 capacity with a phase 1 building. With the addition of these additional parking spaces, and it's a combination of parking, mainly going to be for customers in the front of the building, service to the side. These are going to be pretty much dedicated to vehicle display and storage at the perimeter. The breakdown is on the plan. We have more than enough parking provided. And you know, it is tight now, but when you pull up, you can always find a space. That's something most car dealerships will, you know, they always have a space for customers. But with this plan enacted, some of the overcrowding that we currently have there will go away. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone may have, or let Todd speak first, because he can go over a little detail as to exactly what's occurred with the changes at the dealership.
Just one quick question. So
Sure.
the total square footage for the new phase 1, 2, and 3 is going to be actually less than what was originally approved?
Yes, yes. There is slightly more retail space. That's just a function of having more dealerships or more brands. But yes, and this pad here that was going to be a used car, the used car sales are going to occur out of the main, and that's just going to be converted to a vehicle display area as well. But yes, the total square footage, previous we had, I don't even know if I wrote it down here. We had roughly a 22,000 square foot building and then a 3,000 or 4,000 square foot used car, and now it's going to be 13.5 plus 2.5 with a small addition back there. One of the things when the initial site was designed, and when this was a General Motors requirement, we had to be able to get the large trucks, the delivery parts trucks, come in the site, go around the building without going in reverse. You know some of the problems with auto dealerships. They can't even get on the site. This one, they can get on the site. They can go around the building. You can see we have extra wide aisles, we have 30 to 40 foot aisles on the main corridor there. One of the things we are doing is we are taking out an island here to facilitate to maintain those truck patterns through the site, which they'll be able to do. But
Anything else for Ben, Commission members, this time? Okay.
I'll let Todd.
For the record, my name is Todd Ingersoll. I'm the president of Ingersoll Automotive. You almost have to pinch yourself that you can actually be standing here given what our organization went through over the past several years. We feel real fortunate to be representing not only brands, but the 85 people that I work with every day in that facility. We have grown, I think, exponentially, and most of the addition of what we're doing here is to increase our service capacity. That's really critical for us because the first car is sold by the sales department, but the second, third, and fourth, and fifth are really how you get your guests in the service department. So that's where our concentration is. There's some separation on the inside between Chevrolet, UHGC, and Cadillac because the company wants the brands separated. And so the building has been laid out to do just that. We kind of have some sales managers stuck down the middle, and that gives the separation that they were looking for. So if there's any questions anybody has that I can answer, I'd be glad to do so.
Joel?
Parking.
Yes.
I recently visited your facility.
Sure.
Discovered you don't have a body shop.
It's too hard to
I didn't see too many customer parking places. Where is existing customer parking on the lot? And on this, either this or the existing now?
Sure. Let me take you through that. We do a couple of unique things. For all of our service guests, we don't park outside at all, ever. That's kind of one of our standards. So the first thing you do is you pull up to the building where the door automatically, the sensors in the ground open, and you pull into the building. We are greeted by a porter, and they then walk around the car with you to determine what you need. So there is no necessary parking for that event. If you did want to, though, these spaces typically here are open in the front. This is where they would be right in front here. The sales department is where you would see the bulk of the activity for parking. Okay, but let's just talk. I want to complete the thought on the service zone. You pull into the service bay, you're greeted. The porters then take the car out back, and this is the staging area for the technicians as they become available to bring the cars back into work on them. So the thought is
considered customer parking back there, that's storage.
right back, exactly. So they store it. They store the car until it's real. But right now, as it stands, the bulk of the parking for guests that are coming in for sales will be here and over on the side. And it's something actually that we get surveyed on pretty frequently. GM will send out anonymous people into the store to shop us, and it's something we pay pretty close attention to because they time into it. So we try to make sure that there is always these spots are open in the front for guests coming to the facility.
How many required customers parking spaces do you have right now in phase one?
That would have to be explained.
Bear with me, I haven't looked at this in a few years. Phase one had required only 79 spaces, and that
They're located where?
they were located in phase one.
Where? Where? Where
Are
are
you-
spaces physically?
Physically, the way it was, the way the site plan was done for phase one, it wasn't delineated as far as, these were vehicle storage. We didn't identify the 79 because we had such an excess of spaces. But I guess, Todd, right now, I guess what Joel's asking is, where do the customers park right now?
I was in there and I certainly didn't see 79 available spaces anywhere that a customer might reasonably drive to park.
Exactly, Joel, and that's one of the reasons we are, but again, those 79 spaces are technically taken up by people getting their car serviced, by employees that are parking there, and by customers that are shopping there too. So the idea of having 79 open spaces doesn't exist. The fact is, do we have available spaces when we
If
get
you
there?
got 85 people working there, you don't even have space for an employee.
Well, they all don't work every day, right? There's different shifts that people work. So it's not, you're never at a capacity where you're gonna have 85 people all at once, because we have, for instance, 4-day work weeks for technicians. So they're off for 3 days, and that's how you kind of rotate through some of that stuff. But on the parking side, to give you an example, the employees, for the most part, will park back in this area. So this staging over here is typically for guests. On an average day, we may sell 7 cars. That might be an average day. To do that, you're going to have about 15 to 16 people in the sales department, guests coming in the door. Not all at once. Saturday would be the busiest day. So there's that many spaces clearly available for them because we keep them open. And again, on the service side, we go park the car for you. That's how it works. That's how we go about it.
And I just want to add one thing with the new site plan. And as we had said at the beginning, one of the reasons we're here is because things are very tight right now on site. The new site plan has 137 required spaces, and it has about 194 provided. And that doesn't even include the areas for vehicle storage and vehicle display. And they're
Where is that? Or is it just intermingled amongst the world?
everything, here, I'll actually show it to you, Joel, because on the new site, as I said, in 2005, we didn't differentiate between them, we just sort of gave a total. Right now, we're showing vehicle display from my pencil, Federal Road, this area over here by the Hart Bus. We've got a few vehicle display pads. This is storage here, and this is storage here. So all the available parking is, I'm tracing it with my finger here, is around the building. And again, that parking is for customers, it's for employees, and it's and some surplus spaces. And again, it's in excess of what we have now, by quite a bit.
Yeah, actually, from what I remember from being over there the last couple of days, some of the areas you're talking about being parking spaces is inventory. That is actually,
It-
the
yeah.
aisles, on the aisles,
No,
the inventory.
I agree, and that's why we're here.
Want to be able to use the space that we had set up before when some got lost in the shuffle. Thank God we didn't build that thing. But now we'll be able to lay this site out so that we can use it effectively. You've hit right on the head exactly what we're doing.
So you'll be able to delineate exactly where inventory and or other storage
Yeah.
will be and what will be customer parking specifically.
Well, you'd have to ask this question. Would it make sense to have 40 customer parking places up front?
I don't know. I
Well, here's my point, running the business, knowing that you never need more than 20, and telling people, okay, we gotta walk way over here to go show you Cadillacs. So in that particular instance, we would probably delineate and say, hey, let's put some more Cadillacs up front, so that they don't have to walk as far or take the golf cart there to do that. But the idea is to have more open spaces so they can walk.
Unfortunately, my full disclosure, my GMC Acadia has been here more times than I care to talk about for service. But anyway, I mean, just the opposite. There was always a ton of parking, and as it was described, you bring your car in for service, you drive it into the building, your wife or whoever picks you up and brings you home, and that's it. There is no parking when you bring the car in for service, and you're getting out. But my observation was there was always a ton of parking. It was just
Maybe I'm talking on a hot day, but.
so I mean, I can only share my own, what happened when I go there and interview folks. So just
To your point, we work diligently to keep this front open. At least these 20 some odd spots are regularly open for that reason. So,
Anything else, Commissioner members, at this time for Mr. Ingersoll? Thank you very much.
you bet.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application?
I have something I want to add.
You're gonna, are you in favor?
Okay, thank you.
Are you in favor? Or in opposition?
I'm hard of hearing, I can't.
Okay, are you want to speak in favor of the application?
I still can't hear you.
Come up here. Come up here. Right in front of her, maybe that'll
I
help.
think I need an eight.
That's okay. Do you wish to speak in favor of the application or
No,
opposed
not
to
in
it?
favor, no. I'm against it.
Okay, okay, so you have to state your name and address for the record, and go ahead, then you can speak.
Ma'am, this isn't the Sureguard application. This isn't the Mill Plain Road application. This is a
I know
different.
what it is.
Okay,
What do you mean, sure guard?
the property that you're adjacent to. This isn't that application. This is a different application.
This is not the one for the people next to me to
No.
build 3-story?
No, this is an auto dealer on Federal Road.
The next
You're
application.
next. Next.
Oh,
Stay
okay,
here.
I'm out of line.
I'll tell you when to come up.
Okay, I can't hear nothing here.
I'll call you when I come up.
Just
Don't
say-
put that on the floor.
Can you clarify where on Federal Road this is?
It's right across from, you.
From him.
It's across from F&M Electric.
Next to
Yeah,
Hard
big
Bus.
flagpole.
The old
Yeah,
driving.
oh, the huge flag.
The old driving.
It's the existing car dealership.
Ingersoll
That's it.
Automotive.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the one in Honda, and I know that's not that.
No, no.
Opposite end of the street, heading towards downtown Danbury.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Jen, I know we're waiting for EIC. I believe we're waiting for EIC.
Yes,
And
we're
there's some
waiting.
engineering things too?
We are waiting for EIC. We're waiting for the engineering department, the fire marshal, and the traffic engineer.
Okay, so we're kind of two. Okay, so
Yes.
we cannot close this.
No.
If we wanted to. All right, anything else, Ben?
No, that's it.
Commission members, anything else?
Yeah, just a
go ahead.
comment. I'm still a little concerned about
Yeah.
customer parking aspect.
Sure.
And again, it's because of my personal experience, I drove in there, there's, God forbid, there's a fire, kind of thing. I'd like to see specifically on your site plan, where the open parking is going to be designated. And is there some way that's like you're saying, from a zoning enforcement standpoint, can come and say, yeah, that's not inventory sitting there.
I have to think about that because as I said,
Well, we're still going to have it open.
exactly.
That's the question.
I understand what you're saying.
Areas that you're saying going to be customer parking now, I know inventory sitting there. I know it. I was there. just earlier this
Exactly,
week.
yep.
And so from the go forward, I can't rely on what it is. Now, how are you going to make sure those parking spaces are available and not occupied by inventory on a go forward basis? That's the question.
What I'll do is I'll try to talk to Jen about that, but
That's
at the same token, as I said, these spaces that are required, the 137, they're not all going to be empty. They're supposed to be occupied by, the employees, the people, service cars.
Understood.
Okay, yeah.
But I should be able to go in there and go to one of those spaces that there's no sticker on the sky. It's not for sale.
No, understood. But at the same token, as Todd said, and you know, I've worked on other dealerships too, that's one thing that when you pull into a car dealership, if they're doing the right thing, there's always a space for you to park it. I mean, it's just not good business not to have a space near the front door that's available for you. And that's, again, my experience. I understand your comments about it being overcrowded, and it is overcrowded right now. And that's one of the reasons we're here.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Commission members, unless you have anything else for the applicant, I'll entertain a motion to continue.
So moved. Second.
Motion made to continue and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye opposed. This matter will be continued to July 18th. Thanks,
Okay,
Matt.
great.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our second public
Okay.
hearing.
Better that way.
7:30 p.m. Sure Guard Storage Centers Inc. Application for new special exception provides site plan 1 for expansion of existing self-service storage, originally approved as site plan, and 2 to allow use of public storage generating over 500 units per day in the CA80 zone, 77 to 83 Mill Plain Road, B14032, special exception 726. Helen, would you read the legal one, please? You can skip this one. I did that one.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that the planning commission in the city of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7:30 p.m. on June 20, 2012, in the city council chambers at City Hall, 155 Deer Drive, to consider the following matter. Sureguard Storage Centers Incorporated, application for special exception site plan for expansion of existing self-service storage, originally approved as a site plan, and 2, use public storage, generating over 500 vehicle trips per day in the CA80 zone, 77-33 Mill Plain Road, lot D14032, SE number 726. Parties and interests and citizens shall have the opportunity to be heard at this time. Signed, Arnold Canal, Chairman.
Thank you, Helen. Commission members, hopefully you received some documents from Jen on this application. As staff report dated June 14, 2012. I believe we were carbon copied on an email exchange. Abdul Muhammad, our traffic engineer, and Al Baker, our police chief, on the matter of traffic. I see a letter, Frederick Clark and Associates, dated June 4, 2012. And I think there was maybe a couple of other things. If you don't have those, be sure to ask again. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Oh, is he?
Good evening.
Please.
My name is Ken Slater. I'm an attorney with the firm of Halloran and Sage, partner in the Land Use and Environmental Group. I'm out of the Hartford office, but I'm happy to say we've recently become part of this community. We've opened an office on just right down the road at 153 Deer Hill. Attorney Bill Aurelia.
Sorry.
Hang on 1 second.
You're still antiquated.
You still have cassette tapes here, believe me.
I was just talking to someone who's got to convert my wedding tape from VHS over to digital. So
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Your wedding from VHS?
Yes.
Mine is too.
So is mine.
So is mine.
There's no such thing.
It means you were born in the 80s. I mean, that means you were married in the 80s, that's all. Maybe 70s.
8-track is an innovation.
Done that before, now I keep
Attorney
correcting.
Slater.
Yes. With me tonight is Brian Mela, who's with Public Storage. Gentleman needs no introduction, Mark Kornhaus, who will be making the lion's share of the presentation tonight, and Stephen Cipolla, who's with Frederick Clark Associates, who will make the presentation regarding the traffic. Like the last application, just as a matter of housekeeping, there are a few open issues, so it would be my expectation that this hearing would get continued as well. We haven't heard from EIC, and I think there's some additional staff reports that are due. The ones that we've seen so far have been very favorable, but there are more to come, and hopefully will be equally favorable. I'm sure you know about Public Storage. They've been in business since the early 1970s. In fact, I learned just in preparing this that they may be one of the world's largest landlords in the facilities that they operate in North America and in Europe. I've been to the site, and I think they've done a wonderful job with that building. And like the last applicant, they're faced with a good problem in this economy we have right now, in that they have very, very high occupancy there, and there's a demand for an expansion of their facility. And so what they're asking for is a special exception as a self-storage use, which is allowed in the CA 80 zone by special exception. They also, taking the entire facility together, the existing facility and as it's improved, they just cross over the 500 car threshold to be a major traffic generator requiring a special exception. So both of those reasons that a special exception is required, and as you'll hear, the traffic study has been performed and it was very favorable in terms of the standards for consideration by this commission. The details of the plan will be with you in just a few moments, but in summary, there's an existing 81,000 square foot of gross floor area, and that's made up of the main building, which is the building that will stay up front, and then that's what we call Building A, and then there's a building behind it, Building B. That building would be replaced with a new 3-story building. And then lastly, there's a canopy that you can see from the road that would be replaced by a 3rd building. And so in the final total would be just over 130,000 square foot of gross floor area. Now, there's one other issue that I'd like to raise, and just point out to the commission that we would like a little bit of feedback on. And that is, under the special exception standards, your commission has some discretion considering the character of the neighborhood and protecting property values, things of that nature. And as part of that, there's been some communication with staff with proposals, asking for proposals from Public Storage regarding the aesthetic features of the new building. And as you'll see, most of the new building, and when I talk about the new building, I'm talking about replacement of Building B, the larger building that's being proposed in this application. Most of that building is not visible, and although there are some things that we could do, and that will be shown in the renderings that you'll see, it also was an idea that we want to present tonight, that the existing building, there's no requirement for new permits, and frankly, there's no real authority on the part of the commission to make us do anything with the fully approved buildings, that with a reasonable budget towards dealing with aesthetic issues, it probably makes more sense, bang for the buck, to make some improvements on the building that's right along the road than the new building that's subject to the special exception, which is going to go behind it. So you'll see a couple of these alternatives, and to the extent that we can get some feedback from the commission in terms of what the commission might favor in terms of aesthetics, that would help us in preparing for the next meeting as well as with the application in general. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to Mark, and I'd also offer that if there are any questions of the company, again, Ryan Searcy would address any questions the commission might have after our presentation.
Mark Hornas, Artel Engineering Group. Just want to basically, I know the commission knows where the site is. For anybody in the audience who doesn't know where this is, I would like to know this is on the north side of Mill Plain Road. It's about 400 feet east of Westwood Drive, and also has a little bit of frontage on Old Mill Plain Road. It'll cut off. As Attorney Slater was describing the site, there are 2 existing buildings presently, Building A and B. A is the larger building, very visible from the street, shown here in the existing conditions map. And Building B, which is about 10,200 square feet behind it, is a single story. Also, there's a canopy, as I described, it's on the east side of the site right here, that's about 3,700 square feet. Our proposal was for, it's kind of hard to read right from, see this.
I'm just trying to get my bearings on. I got it now.
Okay, so the intent is to leave Building A, the larger building, is a 2-story building, and demo Building B, and actually for a larger footprint, it's about 18,600 square feet, 3 stories. Canopy will be removed, our building will go in place with about 3,300 square feet roughly. The access to the site won't change at all. Currently, there's a 2-way driveway on the west side, We have small parking area, about 7 cars, handicapped, accessible, seems to function fine, no issues with parking. You basically come in, there's a 2-way driveway. There's a canopy between buildings, that's going to remain. Under the old site, you were able to drive around the back of building B. Currently, now with this proposal, this will be a one-way, so everybody who comes in is going to be filtered out through the exit only, which is what was intended.
How wide is that space between A and B and proposed B?
It's 30 feet. And it's a good question, and I know you're thinking fire marshal and all that. People from public storage did meet with the fire marshal right before the application, even before the really design.
I was just thinking about when you're unloading, the ability to pass by.
That's a good question. Right now, currently, what they do is they pull up close to building A, right here along the back. There's some doors, there's a lobby right here, so they offload it. Right now, it's not an issue, you go around building B or whatever. The fire marshal suggested that you limit the amount of time that you can spend here loading, so we posted signs here, 15-minute parking for unloading. We've got a straight fire lane on this side, so there'll be no parking on this side, and they're all posted. And that won't allow a fire truck to come in and actually make its way under the canopy of the ground. When we submitted that, it was obviously reviewed by the fire marshal. So that's how that works. And we just put a pedestrian crossing. The lobby for building B would be right directly across. So if we're pulling in building B, we would park along here, unload across the road here, down the way.
So building B is going to be your largest facility. Total floor space.
Actually, it won't be close. This is about 71 total. This will be about 55,000 and some change.
But they're going to have to park over by building A and tote the stuff across the street.
Yeah, well, it's basically, yes, that's correct. They'll park against this building and then just bring the stuff across to the lobby. So yeah, it'll be concentrated here. The other operation of this building, these are roll-up doors.
Oh, huh.
They're roll-up doors. So you obviously just pull them to the site and go here. Similar to this side or this side, there's a few roll-up doors in the back as well.
Questions, Mr. Mayor?
So Mark, the back building, the proposed 3-story, the bottom floor does not have roll-up doors on it, right there?
No, it does not. There's no outside storage in the building. All inside storage. Similar to this, this does have a few exterior units, but it's inside climate control. So in regards to utilities, building A currently has sewer and water. There's a facility, there's an office within the building for day-to-day operations. They have toilet facilities. There is a public toilet facility outside here. This has a fire suppression system because of the size of the building. We're also proposing to put a fire suppression system for building B, which would be warranted with a 3-story building. This one will not, it would be a freestanding building because of the size of the building required. And what we did is we did a immediate fire flow analysis, and it came up about 500 gallons a minute. There's plenty of volume on the streets. It flows about 9,000 gallons a minute at 20 psi. So there's no issue there with the safety with that. So basically, what we're doing for utilities, we put a 6-inch water service line, fire protection line. Nothing else on the site will change. Important point to make is that both of these buildings are going on blacktop. There's no additional paving required. There's actually a slight increase in the impervious coverage, a little more than 1% in decrease.
Martin, that means you're going to have to do zero excavation to that hillside?
That's correct. The way we have it situated, we've got the back of the building as a retaining wall. We're going to put it at the edge of pavement, and then we're going to fill up against the back. So really what we're going to do is remove the pavement, put the footings up, and the wall, just backfill against it. We don't want to touch the inside. Probably there's a lot of time and effort spent to stabilize that. I guess that was a problem. Storm sewer system, it's got a complete storm sewer system that's in, it's functioning, it's got treatment, it's got a detention basin. We're currently before the EIC, we're doing that as everything that was put in place when the site was initially designed is there, and it seems to be functioning fine. So large soil here, I've walked all that, it looks good, it looks like no order.
Since you're not changing the impervious surface, you don't have to make any modifications to your stormwater management.
No, the only thing we're really doing is we're moving the catch basin that's right here, we're just pulling it over here. And what we'll do is connect all the roof drains right to it, very simple. And anything that's connected to it, I think there's a drain right here that goes into the back, we'll just tie it right back in. Our footing drains, our roof drains, we'll tie right into that. No changes warranted, there's no increase. Okay. Now, we did mention the building, I know that Attorney Slater said there was a couple of suggestions on the table. Obviously, our application is for two buildings, Building B and Building C. And what we meant by direction, I'll show you what we're talking about. Obviously, we want to do something, we want to see what's going to happen with Building C and B. I'll probably show you B first, because that's the bigger part. As you mentioned, it's 3 stories in height. What the architect did, he basically put the first and front building, Building A, to show you how it would look from the street. You're not going to see very much. You're going to see about 7 feet at the top. Now, they initially submitted something that was just bare bones, didn't have the windows in it. It's just, it's a steel structure, vertical metal panels, pavement to match the existing building. The suggestion was that either spruce this up or, so we tried to match the architecture of Building A. But one of the thoughts was, rather than put money into a lot of effort and money into this back building, was perhaps to give Building A, the existing building, punch it up and give it some street appeal. So one of the suggestions, one of the things we were discussing, was to take the existing Building A and redo the face of it. Provide stone veneer, we'll change the color, little features of the canopy, make it look a little better. Because that's really what you're going to see when you drive by. And then Building C, the smaller one, would simply carry that thing with the stone that faces the road in the paint scheme. Dark contours and paint to match the site. And that's why we're asking some direction as to what would be more appealing to actually spruce up the facade or put a little more effort into Building B.
Yeah, we have to keep the public hearing open, but we'll certainly discuss that. I do agree that, there are some aesthetic, not concerns, but issues. I think what we're trying to avoid is having sort of a big sheet metal 3-story building sort of looming over a smaller 2-story building that.
Airport hangar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm describing it properly, but that's what you're trying to avoid. But I wasn't aware of the suggestion you just made, but it's a novel idea. We should certainly discuss it, so we will. But I do concur.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Jim.
just for clarification, Mark, can you go to the one that shows the Building B in front of Building A? Or behind, I'm sorry, Building B behind. Yeah. So if, I just want to understand
Go ahead.
what you're presenting to the commission, you would be willing to do the enhancements to the front of Building A in addition to doing what you're showing here? Or is that the either or?
Yeah, what we initially proposed, as you know, was just plain panels, and we came back with these windows, and that's what we're discussing. We would put these windows and kind of dress this facade up a little. That would be the,
That would be the alternative to doing the front?
right.
Okay.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Chairman,
Ellen.
just to clarify that just a little bit more, because I see 2 different fronts for Building B. The one where you spruce up with Building A, you don't have windows in Building B, is that right? Because that's what I'm seeing here. Versus if you don't spruce up Building A, you do put the windows in Building B, and that's supposed to
That's
spruce
correct.
up something.
That's correct.
So this is not really a very nice what you're proposing. If you look at the.
Well, they're looking for guidance from us.
Yeah,
They're looking for
we did
direction.
this so we could simply say, this is what we would do, windows address that, instead of a plain building, we have some windows.
Well, we can discuss that.
And this is how I directed the applicant to present it to the commission. Give the commission two choices, what you would see from the street at eye level with building A, or alternatively, get some enhancements on building B, what you would see in that extra story above the 2 stories of building A. So,
Go ahead, Bill.
Mark, what's the elevation for this blockage view? What's the eye elevation for that blockage? Is it laying on the street, 6 feet above the street level?
I think the architect kind of denoted it here. It's, looks like it's probably standing at the sidewalk and looking.
What would be the view from the street?
That's
Driveway.
be 10 feet.
Let me think. If you're coming eastbound, I don't really think you'd see too much because of the topography. It's kind of a bowl-shaped property. If you're coming westbound, you're probably going to see a little bit, look at this, probably going to see a little bit of that end of the building. If you're driving this way, you might see a little corner over here.
That view that was seen.
The view shed was like
And
this.
the sidewalk.
On that other page, you just had, the last page, we had that guy standing in front of the
Yep.
building. Is that from that?
So that's from the sidewalk, that's not close to the building. The drive-by view would.
No, it was on the.
Yeah.
Is that, is he standing on Mill Plain Road there?
Yeah,
On the
he's,
sidewalk?
his back's a little plain, a little.
So he's on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all it's designed for. You may see, depending on what angle you are, how far back, obviously, you might see more.
From the south, that would be the view, Mill Plain Road, that would be the.
Yeah, if you were driving on Mill Plain and with your back to Mill Plain and facing the site, that's what you see. And just to demonstrate that this isn't towering, but it's over about 7 foot 8 inches.
But from the street, you really see quite a bit more.
I think you only do that if you drive westbound. You probably see more of it because it's got an open view shed on it.
You're another 25 feet away from the building. That would probably wouldn't that much.
I don't think it would make a great deal of difference.
can you go, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, can you go back to the enhancements to building A? Is this view right here, you're looking at it from the side?
That's the side.
That's the side entrance.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Just so the commission
correct.
understands, that's
No,
not the front, that's the
no,
side.
wait,
Okay,
That's this side, yeah,
Yeah.
this side of the property.
okay. But the front, what you'd see from Mill Plain is this one.
Is the south elevation.
Okay.
We can spend some time discussing. We don't have to finalize any of our feelings on.
Yeah, there's
on it.
full-size copies.
Ask for guidance, we'll certainly
Yes.
discuss.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Anything else from Mark at this time, commission members? Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Capola, Director of Fire, who's going to address the comments. Pat.
For the record, my name is Steve Stone, with Chuck Associates.
I didn't hear you.
We prepared a traffic evaluation letter dated June 4th, 2012 for the proposed expansion of the public storage facility. And a recent visit to the site, the current full movement access drive and egress drive provide excellent sight distance in both directions and provide appropriate signage and road markings that would be appropriate for what's currently there and what is being proposed. The existing site of 81,000 plus square feet, we used ITE trip generation rates to calculate what the existing site is currently generating, and it was found that it generates at most 33 vehicle trip ends during the Saturday midday peak period. The proposal is to increase the building to 130,000 plus square feet, which is an additional 48,763 square feet. Again, using IE trip generation rate. The additional traffic that's going to be added to the adjacent roadway system would be at most 19 vehicle trip ends, again during the Saturday midday peak period. The proposed expansion will have an insignificant impact on the overall operation of Mill Plain Road and any of the nearby signalized intersections. We also have received recommendations from both the city traffic engineer and the police chief, finding that the proposed expansion will have a very insignificant negative impact on the operation of safety along Mill Plain Road, and recommendation that this application to be approved. Any questions?
Anything from Mr. Sepulveda at this time, Commissioner Ivan? I've always been amazed by, no matter how big these things get, they generate very little traffic, don't do they? I mean, it's just, they sit empty the overwhelming majority of the time, don't they?
What we look at is we look at the peak period of the roadway, which is only an hour period. And typically, a development of this type during the morning rush and the evening rush, typically these sites are very, I wouldn't say dead, but they don't generate much traffic at all. And that shows by the ITD trip generation that the Saturday midday peak is the higher peak. It still generates an additional 19 trips.
So these things are weekend warrior things rather than what we normally associate with peak, 8, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and 5, 6 o'clock in the evening.
From a traffic standpoint, from a peak hour of the roadway standpoint.
Anything else from Mr. Sepulveda? Thanks very much.
That really concludes our presentation, other than responding to concerns that the neighbor may have or any questions the commission might have. And obviously, we're prepared to address some things we spoke about and you'll discuss at the next section of the hearing.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application?
That's me.
Just state your name and your address and go right ahead.
Marilyn Jugas, 71 Mill Plain Road. My property is adjacent to him on the right. I have like 3 acres there. This property has been mishandled and misrepresented from the get-go with Killian. And Killian came in under zoning for a little business and then tore down half the mountain. He undercut the mountain, and really bad. So anyway, these people come in and they undercut it even more. I can't tell you the beginning of all the problems I have with the undercutting of the mountain. The mountain sounds stupid, but the mountain is moving. I noticed at first all my stone walls horizontally start falling over. And they've been up for years, couldn't figure that out, and that didn't even dawn on me. And then I see that just so many things. The driveway's all cracked, my breezeway got a crack right through, it's coming out, everything horizontally. Now, I just noticed that my fields for the front are in the front of my property, and they run horizontally. And the fellow was out cutting grass, and I don't pay attention. And I looked, and there was only one thing of grass right at the very end before it drops off. My fields have been damaged too. It just goes on and on. So that's why I'm against it. Now, I know these gentlemen are not going to do any more digging, which is fine, but they're going up now. So, hey, now I have to put up with seeing them up there besides, which is their right to want to do it. But at the same time, I think I had enough of that piece of property. It's caused me a lot of anguish, a lot of money, replacing the walls and everything. You can't believe it. And now when I see the fields are all gone except one little extreme, I says, now that means I'm gonna have to tie in or have new fields. I don't know what to do with that. But that's the reason. And the gentleman knows this because when he came, I told him that everything's fallen over, something's wrong. He came up, he walked down the front and looked, and then disappeared. I didn't even see him, we didn't even speak. But also, if you come out to my house, it's not too hard to see. All my lilacs, everything that was on the side is now 45-degree angle. They're all pushed over. Everything is pushing over. So it scares me. They did do a nice job. That was also a little stream that came forever down from the mountain into a pond and then went to Kenosha. Well, they covered that all up and stopped it, thought they did. Then it blew out through what they did. They had to do it over again with bigger, heavier rocks. So far it's held. I hope we don't get really heavy rains, because then I don't know what's gonna happen. Well, anyway, that's their problem. My problem is the mountain. Did you ever hear such a thing? Thank you. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I didn't know mountains could move. Songs about it, but I didn't know it really happened. So, anyway, that's what I came to say. Have mercy on me. Now he's got that going crazy on my property. Don't take the but I can't even look down Mill Plain Road. Now there's going to be a big thing up there. So, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I really had enough with that property. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anything?
Excuse me, ma'am, ma'am?
Ma'am?
Ms. Judas?
Oh, well, see, I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
There's no rule.
Of course, you're free to walk out, but if you wouldn't mind, I would like permission to come onto your property and look and see what's
Oh, love you.
Okay, I will do just that.
Yes, you're
Okay.
invited. Bring
Well, there
your
you go.
friends.
Thank you.
I'd like to see people work these things out outside of the city hall. That's always good.
Probably commission members, just to show you who this Judas property is, so you have an idea. She is located east of the site. Sorry, that's her property right there. This is her driveways along that little retail shopping center over the far side. She's upgraded with that property. But anyway, I would,
She's up on the hill.
yeah. But I will walk around and see what's going on, and then I'll report back.
Thank you.
Thanks. We can do that. Okay, commission members, well, we have to keep the public hearing open. Is there anything else anyone wants to discuss, any questions for the applicant this time? Motion to continue? Motion made and seconded to continue. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll continue this until July 18th, gentlemen. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, we're going to keep moving. We're going to go right to continuation of public hearings. STLJ LLC application for new special exception for revised site plan approval for 1 bank with drive-through use and 2 use bank generating over 500 vehicle trips per day in CP20 zone, both to be incorporated into existing special exception 376. 2 letters previously approved as a high traffic generator 99 Federal Road L08031, special exception 376. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Attorney Pino?
Yes, please. Good evening. Attorney Catherine Pagino, Sugar Mizuko, 39 Old Richbury Road, and representing the applicant. With me tonight, we have Jim Rotondo from Rotondo Engineering. We have Henry Didman from Alona Road on Traffic, and Since the last time, we received our EIC approval. We responded to Ms. Evanger's staff report. Building department has signed off on the application. We are responding to engineering with a couple of exceptions, which Jim will go through with you. And we responded to traffic engineer comments, and we have a proposal to present to you on some of those issues. I have at least, we were prepared to grant an extension if necessary. I think I should probably go over to you and just
You can't
see what happens.
ask for it, but go ahead.
It's here with me, and with that, I'd like to turn it over to Jim.
Any for Mr. Keener right now? Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jim Rotundo. I'm a licensed professional engineer and principal of Rotundo Engineering LLC with offices located in Shelton. Since our last meeting, we had prepared, one of the items we had talked about last meeting was our treatment of the sidewalk across the front of the bank. That's an open item. I'd just like to talk about that. What we are proposing just to reorient everybody. Bank is located here in the center of the site driveway coming across the front. As part of our proposal, we are proposing a sidewalk along the edge of the driveway across the front of the bank, connecting the Walgreens sidewalk across the front of the bank and over to the existing Stu Leonard store. We've had some discussions on the treatment of how this sidewalk is going to be. What we are proposing here is previously the original proposal was for a painted pedestrian walkway along the edge of the sidewalk, or along the edge of the driveway, excuse me. What we've evolved into here is a concrete sidewalk which will be flush with grade, and to help with pedestrian safety, we are setting this back 3 feet from the edge of the driveway, and what we're proposing is the installation of a split rail fence. I have a picture for you. This is a split rail fence treatment that is at the Stu Leonard store in Norwalk.
Mark has an exhibit.
We actually have it already.
It's in the
Yes, it's already in the
All
file.
right,
Thank you.
It's similar stuff to what you have around the old farm animal stuff, right?
Yes, yes, it'll be a 2-rail wooden split rail fence. I do have a detail also, which I could submit it into the record if you'd like. It's just more technical in nature. But it's essentially what you see in the picture here. As I indicated, that will be located between the driveway and the sidewalk area. That was submitted. We have not received any comment back from staff. That was also one of the traffic engineers' comment. So we have not received any feedback on that yet. We've revised the plan. There were concerns brought up at the first hearing with garden center materials and so forth, the storage of them. We had a conversation with Jennifer this afternoon, and we prepared a plan trying to address some of those issues with the location of garden center storage. There are some existing trailers on site and so forth. Jen, I did bring copies of that. Would you like me to submit that tonight, or do you want me to hold off until we get a comment, and then we can?
Let's wait. Are these the plans that you emailed me earlier?
No, they aren't.
Oh, then I need to pull them.
Before we get to that, just getting back to the sidewalk.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're trying to accomplish. So right now, if you walk out of the main entrance to the store and you take a right, okay?
Yes.
You go by the hoedown.
Mm-hmm.
You continue down, it's sort of a covered area where some gas grills and things. You keep going. And then at some point, you come to sort of there's like a double yellow line painted. It's almost looks like it was intended to be a sidewalk. But if you keep walking down it sort of dies out. It doesn't get you anywhere. You just plants and the fence and things. And my only thought was, well, the garden center grew and maybe they pushed some of their inventory up and sort of cut off that walkway. So you really can't walk now from the Stu Leonard's main entrance to Walgreens on really anything. You're sort of walking down where the cars go.
And I know the sidewalk is going to remedy that, or it's intended to remedy that, but if it's flush with the pavement, does it lend itself to the same sort of thing, or is this intended to alleviate that?
This is intended to alleviate that, and two things that we did here. You talked about the double yellow line. The inside line that kind of delineates the edge of the driveway is approximately in the location of where the proposed driveway is going to go. So what we'll do is we'll stripe that. 3 feet back from that line is where the concrete sidewalk will be. It will be flush with grade. It helps with several things. During the off-season months, when the garden center is not in operation, they do use that for some seasonal parking in there. We are proposing the split rail fence will be a removable fence. So to help out with the operations, if they have to get in and out of there, they could remove some sections to get vehicles in and out, to bring stock in and out, whatever need be. That fence will be located on the inside of that the concrete sidewalk. Now that sidewalk, as you say, currently there is that striped area that kind of dead ends at the end of that the existing parking area that's there. The sidewalk will continue across the front of the bank and align with the Walgreens sidewalk. So now you'd have continuity with a delineated concrete sidewalk across the front of the Walgreens, across the front of the bank, across the drive-through driveway, across the garden center, and we're continuing that under that little arbor area across the front of the hoedown to connect to the sidewalk in front of the Stu Leonard store.
Go ahead, Bill.
Just picking up on something you said, the split rail fence, which over in the farm area is straight keeping the kids in off the street, and it's fenced, some hardware or something in addition to the split rail. But if you're talking about a removable fence, you're really talking about a sidewalk with a driveway across it, right? You're going to move vehicles, loading and stuff across that sidewalk. So it's a sidewalk with a driveway across it. Or a sidewalk traversing the driveway.
Well, in a way, but it's controlled. It's not, it'll be controlled by Stu Leonard's, which sections would be open, when vehicles can go in and out of it. During garden center time, when the garden center is open, that fence will be in place. That fence will be permanent unless they need to get in and out. In the off-season, when the garden center is not there, need be to get into that area, posts can be removed.
How does it, let's say, I don't know what flower vendors you use, that they use. Let's say you're bringing a truckload of impatiens in or something like that. Where is that offload in the garden center kind of is proposing?
I think it's all quoted in the like Hempstead, Stu Leonard's, Vice President Stu Leonard's, they do all the property development. Most of the flowers, and Jennifer's note this morning, that's why the racks are back there. Most of the flower guys deliver in trucks that have lift gates on the back. They come in racks. They deliver 10 racks, they take 10 racks back. Sometimes in the earlier season, they'll deliver a couple dozen racks. But it's the beginning of the season, we don't have 2 dozen racks to take back. But by the end of the season, they get cleaned up again because they go to multiple stops. It's kind of so all this, along usually with any of the pine bark and all that stuff, gets loaded pretty much back here. There's an area, there's a dock back. Put the glasses on this. There's an area back here. There's a concrete area that a small straight job can back into. Otherwise, we use the loading docks for some of this stuff.
Where's the road that drives the fine road in there, the main road?
This is the main building. This is, oh, I'm sorry. That's right. This is a loading dock area, all in here. Where the main trucks are always parked in the back. I think there's doors like 1 through 6. Then we have other trailers along with a couple of dumpsters back in here from time to time. That varies depending on what's going on. And the iron shop area is right there. So this area is a pretty large pad up here, and this is not a traffic truck area because this is a cardboard trailer that gets moved once a week. We put all our recycled cardboard on. The other trailer is sometimes either a storage trailer for pallets or anything like that. We have what they call check pods, which are returnable pods, those blue ones that you see in places.
They go back to the manufacturers. So this area, sometimes those trucks will come in, they'll drop their racks and go back here and pick up their other racks.
Just for my own application, tracking your finger where, let's say, a mulch, a load of mulch, or a load of flowers, where does it come into your property and how do you divert?
This
Where
is
does
always-
it actually enter the property?
I've never seen it, he mentioned that, I didn't say that. I don't recall a truck ever backing in there, unless it might be the very first season that there's nothing there, but I.
No, what Joel's question is, in other words, you come in the, I guess it would be the
Somebody's
western
delivering
end.
flowers.
When they come in this
The
way,
eastern
I'm sorry.
Where, how's the truck enter your property and exit your property?
This is a one-way.
Goes around the back.
Most trucks, not all, but most trucks are coming off either 84 or whatever, so they're coming in this direction most of the time. There's a one-way direction all the way back through. These are normal, everyday deliveries of food stock, but it's also used in certain times of year for, there's garden shop materials like patio furniture and all that would be delivered to those docks. And usually the other trucks with the flowers on that, just like any Home Depot or Lowe's, you come little straight jobs with a rack, a drop thing on the back, and they usually deliver them right out in an open area, wheel them over, and pick their empties up. So most of that happens here. Pumpkins come in, if they're on our own trucks, we go pick them up. Normally we'll back that truck into this dock area, it's just a concrete, you know, like the old fashioned kind where they put a temporary plate across it. We'll pull the bids off and just drop them in the area. I don't recall delivering across anything in the front, because once the fence goes up, that becomes the perimeter for the garden shop. Unless maybe a load of trees early in the season for Christmas, but I can't.
Okay, and then you would exit behind the bank, behind the
Right.
water.
Yeah, it's all behind in this area.
Pardon?
It's all the loading and all that.
Right, but you may exit the property.
Yeah, it's a one-way all the way through here.
That's
It's
the other
all
one.
one way, this entire back.
What's the season for the whole thing, I'm just out of curiosity, from when to when?
A little bit's weather, a little bit's when Easter falls, but it's technically around April 15th and quits somewhere around October 15th. And our peak season, obviously, it's like anybody else in summer, not today, it's too hot for sitting outside.
In the garden center, about the same?
We're over our peaks. That starts, it's kind of like what you around your home, it's kind of deal. You start a little bit out, just clean up in April. May's usually the busiest month out there. By June 15th, it's over. All right. But now it's either getting too warm, people done planting, know what they want to do. We kick back in just for pumpkin season. That's a real short window. That's usually October 1st, October 30th. There's nothing out there after that until we bring the trees in, which is usually right up just before Thanksgiving. And that's, I think, what Jim alluded to, why we're asking for the fence and the flush here, because two of our busiest days of the year are the 23rd and 24th of December. This parking lot, we're done with the trees by then. Whether we are or not, we're done with the trees by then. Then we open that up to provide additional parking to make sure that we have enough parking on site. They've been doing that since day one, since we had the garden shop there. So that's why we kind of need this flush. And the fence that you're talking about is, we sink a sleeve in the ground in cement, and we put a metal pole up along the ridge of the post. And that's how we put it in the ground and able to take them up at the end of the year. We just capped the hole. We went to fill up with sand. That's how we.
The sidewalk can be clearly marked.
It's going to be we're proposing concrete.
Where you're going to have traffic crossing. So the motorists understand clearly that's sidewalk, it's not a driveway.
No. I'm sorry.
Slightly different question. Under what circumstances would you ever do this?
The only thing I said was what I mentioned, that maybe they bring a Christmas tree truck and back it in there and I'll offload it during the day, but I mean.
When you open up for Christmas and stuff.
I'm sorry?
But you said you'd open it up for Christmas as additional parking.
Yes, right. We take the fence completely down.
Right.
Mr.
Go
Chairman,
ahead.
what I believe,
Oh, I
the
see.
way it functions is cars, for Joel, if you want to park in those spaces, and it's hard to see there, but there's, how many spaces, Jim? About 20?
Yes.
About 20 seasonal parking spaces, so you would just drive over the sidewalk, it's flush. It's no different than if you were at a driveway apron and you drive over the sidewalk to get to the parking lot. That's how it functions.
Yeah, and I mean, this just came up to us because they asked for a raised sidewalk, which doesn't work for drainage is another reason this doesn't work on this. We can leave sections of the fence up and just basically create an opening for cars to pull in and park. We don't have to take it all down. We can do that.
People kind of view that as just part of the parking lot and zoom right through. And, you're in the middle of the parking lot, you're not on a sidewalk, you're on the way, you understand my concern?
Right. And
It's
observing,
not clearly marked that there's a sidewalk in front of you.
well, okay, I'm sure we can do striping, all that kind of stuff like we do for the Lowe's, we want to do the angle, large angle.
Just in the area, you're gonna have traffic going on.
This is a slow area just because of the nature of the beast, and Jennifer's been out there many times. We've had several different models. This one actually works the best we've ever had.
Does.
That, it just seems the tendency, no matter what you stand out there, I've never seen anybody zooming there. I'm not there like 360
No,
days a
they
year, but it
We've
just,
all been there a million.
yeah, I just, it
I was
tends to
really
be.
happy with sad about that. Like I said, that's-
No, I find most parking lots you go to,
Yeah.
just because there's so much activity every place, just to find it. As far as we know, we've never, you get a bumper thing where somebody backs into somebody's car pulling out of a parking space. But we've had no, anybody been hit by a car or anybody killed on site, something like that. Parking.
Great,
I'm sorry.
where are we here? Oh, yes.
You want to get back to that? Who knows, really knows
Jim, go
everything?
ahead.
Okay, as I started, we put together a plan here based on conversations with Jennifer and what's going on at the site with storage and so forth. One of the things that we're proposing to do at this time, with the original special exception, there was some parking reconfiguration behind the building and along the edge of the parking area. Currently, the spaces park up against the building. With the original special exception proposal, those were being flipped over onto the other side of the driveway. There was also some reconfiguring of spaces, existing spaces along the curb line here, straight-in spaces were angling. As it was indicated, we do have one-way traffic here. This is a continuation of parking that was laid out along with the Walgreens, but as part of this application, we are going to make those changes. With that, we did realize a slight increase in the number of parking spaces proposed from what our original proposal was, just doing the work for the Chase Bank. Using that to our advantage with trying to reconfigure some of the storage areas, there's an existing, right behind the existing garden center, there's a storage trailer there at this point. Along the back of the curb line, there's another storage trailer, along with some other items being stored along the curb line.
Yeah, and when you go along the curb line, where the parking spaces are?
Along this area, yes.
You're storing in the parking spaces?
Well, that's what we're trying to remedy right now. And what we're doing here is we're going to take all those trailers, and in discussions with Jen, we're trying to put them in the same area. And we have the opportunity along the back of the building here to locate those in that location. We did have 8 parking spaces proposed there. They were parallel spaces parallel to the building. So those would be removed. But again, we do still meet our parking requirement on the site. We do lose some with this reconfiguring with the storage. One of the other items is behind the garden center. Currently, there's a parking bay which is used for loading and unloading mulch, and also people coming back in this area for propane fill. There's 6 parking spaces in that location. We are taking out 4 spaces and pulling out a seasonal garden center storage area. That's where the mulch and so forth will be stored. Adjacent to that, we have 2 parking spaces which will be designated for propane fill spaces, people getting the propane tanks filled. Those 2 spaces will be designated for that purpose.
You know, to fill a propane tank, you'll have to go around the back of the building and come around.
There's 2 ways that that's done. People can come around the back of the building and park, or they can enter through the garden center. They get assistance from Steve Leonard's employees.
Carry it through.
Put it in a car and carry it through.
If they were bringing it in by vehicle, they'd have to go around the building.
That is correct. That is correct. With some of the excess spaces we have, we're showing in 4 spaces in the rear here, again, temporary garden center storage. in a nutshell, when we take out these spaces, our parking requirement for the site is 582 spaces, and we are providing 582 spaces. Now, with these being seasonal, in the off-season, when there's no materials being stored there, there's 8 spaces that go back into the count, which will give us 590 spaces. So we do meet our parking requirement for this.
Now, the 582 spaces, which is the exact requirement,
That's correct.
everything that you currently have stored in parking back there has to be removed.
That is correct. That is correct. And
Everything.
In the Epperson conversations with Jennifer today, and that's why we made these about 3 o'clock this afternoon after our discussion, was to bring us into compliance. That was the goal. So after working back and forth with Jim, we thought behind the building was the absolute best place to put those. That brings us in conformity, because as long as we call it storage, or as long as I call it, there's a couple of containers back there, I think we're getting an obvious, that's good. The compliance, I think Jennifer mentioned that all this parking should for open. I thought about the drive-through, I think it would be sufficient, because maybe 2 or 3, you get a peak season, like Memorial Day weekend, everybody shows up for gas. Then after that, it just, as you burn it, you show up. And some people actually bring it in the front, pay for it, and say, I'll pick it up around back when I leave, and just grab it and put it in the car and go. So it varies. So I think with that, I mean, this also with the mulch, this puts us all in one area. Gives us room for the racks that are in the back. That is a moving target, no pun intended. But I think that then we'll just bring compliance this way.
Where I was heading on that is, I've been behind the building, and I've seen the storage in the parking spaces. And if you're right on the number now, every time you store so much as a crate of oranges back there, you're going to be in violation and can be cited and fined. I mean, that's the way our regulations read.
And in actuality, when Jim and I kind of walked it, we thought there might be an opportunity. Originally, this was designed to be a dock in the back, taking tank trucks years ago when they first designed the building. We never did it. And we talked about there might be actually to be able to put 3 spaces in front of that dock door, because it was kept open because it was a delivery door, but we've never used it for a delivery door. In fact, that area is basically a storage area in the building. We didn't use the overhead door.
I'm just pointing out that you're really running fine on the line, and if we approve something like this, I can't speak to zone enforcement, that's not in their purview, but they do go around and look at these, for compliance. You gotta be very cautious about not using parking for storage at all.
I think our new tenant, as soon as we're back there, is certainly going to make sure that we keep it cleaned up, the drive-through area. So as he shakes his head, yes.
That essentially wraps up the changes that we made to deal with our storage issues there. We did receive comments from the engineering department. We submitted them to Jennifer. There's one outstanding item there. We had requested a hydrant flow test, which hasn't been performed yet. I was in touch with the Public Utilities Department this week, so we are awaiting that, and that's the last item we will submit to them.
Any other questions for Mr. Rotundo at this time, Commission members? Okay, thank you very much.
Did you have any questions for Mr. Dittman, as he is here this evening?
Commission members, anything for Henry Dittman? Sorry, we could drive all the way down.
We'd probably like to get him tonight, just, if it is going to be continued, just so, perhaps it wouldn't be necessary to have him here.
Understood. Sorry, no questions.
He did his job.
Okay, everybody? Everybody happy? And,
Inside joke.
Jen, I'm sorry, did you know, was there anything else?
I have none.
Okay. Do we have EIC on this?
Yes, we do.
Okay, now, so,
We have all staff reports in. I've been looking at this, I've been on the fence all day, and I've been back and forth with the
No,
project
I
team.
haven't.
This way?
There you go.
I know.
So quick.
That's pretty
Just
good.
duly noted for the record.
Pretty good. Let's say that it's-
Grandma's on her feet.
We're not done.
With your A material, very good.
I think when we talked about whether to keep the hearing open, allow staff the time to review the revisions, or close it tonight, I'm still not certain. I think I did speak to Abdul about the fence, whether Abdul wanted the raised sidewalk to show that clear delineation between the driveway and the pedestrians, noting that there have been issues out there in the past. I talked to him about the fence. He was open to the idea. He'd like to see it. He too had concerns, and I noted the crosswalk in there. Yes. So I think a lot of the issues that we talked about are on the plans, and I suspect that Abdul is on board with the split rail fence. And we understand the constraints in the winter when you want to be able to traverse that sidewalk to get to those parking spaces, because we know around Christmas time it's nuts out there, so the more parking you have, the better.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
Assessment? I'm getting a sense you're uncertain, and if we, I don't know, maybe we need an extension to this, if we close it and there's a problem, the applicant can't reopen it
That's
and
correct.
present anything, and if we then deny it because we have issues, they gotta start the whole thing over.
Yes.
Versus a couple of weeks or whatever, I don't know, we don't have another meeting till.
July 18th.
18th.
July 18th.
But then we have to drag the applicant back, and I mean, like, for example, whatever, I think the traffic engineer who's here, I mean, I don't care, we can keep it open, it doesn't matter to me, I'm comfortable without them. Based on the presentation I heard this evening, and the hundreds of times I've been there, I don't see any reason for a raised sidewalk. I don't think that's a good idea.
I think, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Phil.
I think it presents, it becomes more of a safety issue
Yeah.
with a raised thing, somebody
Absolutely.
stepping off it
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah,
I just-
it's just not moving.
I don't have concern with the sidewalk per se, but I'm just concerned that if Jenner's not real comfortable at this point, that we run the risk of starting this whole process over, and I don't want to do that.
A four-tape evening.
Wow.
Well, two tapes.
Yeah, both
Both
sides.
sides. I didn't call that position, no.
Not yet.
No.
Let me get that out of the way. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application?
3 calls for the 4.
Did I make 3 calls for the, in favor?
I don't think so.
Thanks, no.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, get that out. Go ahead, Joel. Was there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just concerned if there's concerns and we end up giving thumbs down on something that's at maybe 98% there and starting to think, oh, that's my only
I
concern.
think, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead,
the more I look at this, there's one thing I see. There's one metal container, Jim. There's one metal container that doesn't have a to be relocated, right here. This one.
Right, this is up
Keeping
in
that one
the,
though?
this is up in the garden center.
Okay.
That's actually in the garden center storage area.
Oh, all right. That's not part of what was out in the general parking area?
No, there's one in this location here. There's actually 2 dumpsters over here that'll be relocated.
Okay.
It resolves.
Just make sure you say your name, just in case we ever have to.
I'm sorry, yeah, and I was on, I used to do that, too, sorry, I've been on that other side. That resolves that blue trailer issue. My goal is to get the blue trailer out of there. Did I do something wrong?
You just stepped up and still didn't state your name.
Doug Hempstead.
Doug Hempstead,
Yes.
Sue Leonard.
Right, Doug Hempstead, got it.
All right. Yeah.
We're just having fun.
That, the blue trailer that you mentioned today resolves that issue, so I can actually get that out of there.
Oh, all right.
And that's why we showed a second container on the ground, which is not, there's only one container out there physically in the parking lot. The other container sits up on that wall, it's been part of the garden center for 20 years.
Okay. I don't think that's what I saw today. I think I saw something
There was
different.
you did bring up one as you came in Navy Road
Yes.
entrance, which I explained to you belongs to the construction company that's redoing our
Yep.
integration project.
And the department was fine with that. We just
We
wanted.
got it out of the way, it's up against the road.
Okay. I think I'm okay with this.
Okay.
I can talk to the traffic engineer. You know, he wanted to make sure that we had provisions to get pedestrians across before you hit the split rail fence. And you provided that for us. And I think when I spoke to Abdul earlier, he'd said he liked the concrete sidewalk because that acts as the delineation. It's
Right,
not
you're
asphalt.
okay with that, right? You
Yes,
just-
yes. Totally
Okay.
sure.
I'm okay. So we would just have to condition, if you're okay, we would condition whatever report we would get back from the engineering department.
I'm okay.
And, you know, and as a practical matter, commission members, we did continue Ingersoll, we did continue Sureguard, we got a little dumped up, and so unless anyone feels really strongly about this,
Yeah.
I'll let you, and anyone has any other
Motion to close
questions?
the public hearing.
Motion made to close, and seconded, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed.
Thank
Close.
you very much.
Thank you very much, have a good evening here. Thank you.
What this is, the police department, as you know, is located on the corner of Main and Franklin. The back edge of the police department is along the Cape Narrow Brook, and you hit the the Franklin Street Bridge. What the city is proposing to do is, in a small grass area near the bridge, is construct a pump station, a small pump station. Because what's happening now, most people don't know this, underneath the bridge where the deck is, the sanitary sewer line is below the deck. So when the Cape Narrow Brook floods, and it does, debris comes rushing down, it gets caught between the deck and the pipe. Very dangerous. And debris gets caught, it could get dislodged, and you've got raw sewage dumping into the brook. So what the city is proposing to do is they're proposing the pump station and then to construct a force main that then it hugs the deck between the spans of the bridge. So instead of there being a gap, it's right
So
up
stuff
against
can't
it.
get dumped up in there.
Exactly, but to do that, because of the elevation change, they need the pump, they need to pump it. So what they've provided, and this is in the floodplain, if you remember, the police department's in.
Oh, yeah.
A portion of the police department's in the floodway, the back end of it. So police department is off this way. The bridge is right here. Jennings Oil is over here. Okay. The pump station's here. It's underground. I've already approved the pump station, but it's a wet well. That's what they call it. Underground. The only thing that's exposed is the electrical equipment, which I believe is about 4 feet off the ground, and there's a meter pit here. The floodplain it meanders up, and it's got a base flood elevation of 381. Okay. All the spot grades through here are at 382, 382.5. So they're already above the base flood. They're not doing any filling. They're just doing work in the floodplain. Okay. If those spot elevations were below 381, say 380, and they needed to bring it above, then they'd be filling, and that's a different type of application. So based off of what I've seen here, they comply with the floodplain regulations. They're not doing any filling, so there's no need for compensation. There's no structure, so it doesn't need to be a foot above the base flood. They're not doing any work in the designated floodway. So basically, that's what my staff report would say. I just
Okay,
didn't
so
have time.
basically, we have to make a motion to approve the revised floodplain permit.
Correct, and I would have the standard, you have to comply with the approved plan. Obviously, the engineering department has signed off on this, it's their plan. You would see the standard conditions. The only thing you're not going to see is the requirement for an elevation certificate.
Application for revised floodplain permit as per revised floodplain permit application.
Motion, I think that was a motion to approve. Is that done? Is there a second? A second. Is everyone comfortable? We don't have a report, but everyone, Jen's report. Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, this revised floodplain permit is approved.